Hare Krishna everyone. So we are on the third and the final slot of our seminar on the topic of care, or devotee care. A lot of things have been discussed and established. Just now in the first half, the discussion was who should we really care? Who must be the recipient of the care? Yesterday we spoke about the diversity that ISKCON has that brings a challenge. So it requires certain universal principles. After describing principles, still a question is who should we really be caring for? And what are the areas of care? So that was established. Now we're going to come to the next part, how to care. Of course, we'll not be able to touch upon all the recipients or all the areas, but it is one thing that we'll talk over here is in terms of how to counsel and how to mentor. This is a recurring challenge, just to begin with. There was this family from Pune who moved to another part of the country in India, and the wife was counseling a girl. This girl gets married, but to a non-devotee boy. However, the marriage was not a happy marriage. The girl struggled in the marriage. Oftentimes she spoke to her mentor, what should I do? It's just not working out. And this Mataji kept on saying, no, in Vedic tradition, woman always needs protection, which is correct, but you have to see time and circumstance. And she kept on pushing him, no, just keep tolerating. So much so, the parents of the girl were also in favor of they getting separated. But here the mentor kept on insisting Vedic values, Vedic virtues and whatnot. One fine day, they were living in Hyderabad. One fine day, the door was knocked. They opened the door, the police was on the door. And the couple was arrested, our devotee couple. And they were just clueless. What happened? Why are we arrested? Their mentee attempted suicide. And she was in Middle East. And the parents pinned all the blame on this devotee couple. Why were you advising like this? So they said this is one example of it, because this is something, a service where we all get involved into it, particularly those who are preaching, taking care. So therefore there has to be certain clarity, certain boundaries, a code of conduct. What we do, what we don't do, and what we do, how we do. So to begin with this discussion, of course I have to be careful with interaction. I have to make sure I pass on the mic. That's a request. So I'll just have a brief interaction, considering we don't have another mic. What would be the essential skills our caregivers should have while offering care towards others? Is that okay? Yes, Madan.
Listen attentively.
Okay, so what I'll do is I'll repeat what others say so that you get to know. So Mother says, listen attentively. Fantastic. Thank you, Mother. Yes, Mother? Empathy. So these are going into values. We're talking more of skills. So, but that's a value. Okay, thank you. Anyone else? What skills the caregivers should have while taking care of others?
Being neutral?
Dealing?
No, being neutral.
Being neutral. Okay, being neutral. Was a young man, a boy, he got connected, he's been around for 6 months. He was trying his best to practice spiritual life. And he told his mentor, I'm having challenges with maintaining sexual purity. Mentor said, you're fallen. I can't associate with you, otherwise I'll become contaminated. Imagine Nityanand Prabhu telling this to Jagai Madai. Haridas would have been happy. Thank God, I will not be beaten by these two drunken men. I'm just joking. So, let me give you another case, so that you pick out something, what we are touching on. These are all real life cases, and there are hundreds and hundreds of it. A devotee told, Guhyamakhyati Prachiti, we were discussing the first day, So here the devotee shared about his challenges. Okay, let me tell you this thing. So Bhagavatam class is going on. A congregation, a couple, had shared their challenge with the devotee. 2 days before. 2 days later on, this devotee had a morning Bhagavatam class. He's giving Bhagavatam class. And during the course of giving the class, he shared their case study. But mind you, he didn't took any names. But he shared the challenge. And the couple was sitting in the audience. How do you think would have happened? How do you think this is not good? See, names have not even been taken. That would have been too much. If you share the names, and the things in the past have happened like that, names have not been taken. The couple got so hurt. The moment class ended, and the temple hall got empty. They were waiting. They came straight to the speaker. Prabhu, you betrayed our trust. And the devotee said, but Prabhu, I never took your name. He said, what do you mean you never took our name? What do you think people will not understand who you were talking about? We are sitting in the audience and you just shared our challenge. How would we come back to this community? How would we face the devotees here? And this devotee is asking, but Mother, but Prabhu, I never revealed your name. How would others know? But that doesn't matter. So there are certain skills therefore mentioned, that therefore there needs to be taken into consideration. So the first skill is zip it up. You got it. Maintaining confidentiality. Don't share, don't reveal. According to professional code, let's say when you have counselors, professional counselors, you need to take a permission of your client before discussing the case of a client with another professional counselor. So yesterday when we were talking about principles and values, I was making a point under expertise that we also need to undergo some professional development and skill development. Because we have huge diversity, people come from our background. We need to have some skill set with which we can cater to the needs of all. So when it comes to maintaining confidentiality, unless we have a permission from the devotee, we cannot share his case with somebody else. First thing, that's part of ethics. Even if there are going to be situations where somebody shares something with you and you're not able to help, then there is another situation we've got to do with it. We'll come to that. However, the question here is it like we've got to maintain confidentiality in all situations? Imagine a student calls you up, Prabhu, I have had enough. I have lived my life in this world. I want nothing, only Krishna prem. But only thing is, I don't have patience to live my life. Thus, I conclude, I have decided to end my life. I commit suicide. Of course, this I made it a positive connotation. Imagine frustrated from material life, and you get so many cases. Particularly the audience type that I deal with it is too often. They all are IT professionals, frustrated, they have money, wealth, whatnot, but no sense of peace. Somebody calls you up like this. What should you do? Maintain confidentiality. All right, Prabhu. I'll pray to Vishnu Dutas. They come to you, not the Yam Dutas, while you are moving on to the next destination. Or I'll chant one Hare Krishna for you. What should we do? So there are certain situations where, by the law, we're not supposed to maintain confidentiality. We need to take action immediately. Emergency. Emergency like what kind? Where somebody is causing harm to oneself. And what else? Causing harm to others. There are certain situations where we should immediately take help and inform the right authorities. So what are the exceptions? Hurting oneself or trying to hurt others and breaking the law. Somebody decides to break the law, and then if he tells you that we need to take a right course of action. Otherwise, we will also be party of the crime and will be held responsible for it. So the first core skill is maintaining confidentiality, but there are three exceptions to it. First, somebody wants to hurt oneself, second, others, or third, break the law. That time we should not maintain, otherwise we should. And in case if you want to discuss students' problem because we're not able to handle it, we should have due permission. That I'm going to discuss your case with my senior. So that way the confidentiality is maintained because now he knows who else is going to know about my story. Is that okay? So we all acknowledge this is important. That's the first one, core skill. Going back to the case of this couple who got arrested, they had to spend 5 days in the jail by the time they could get a bail. Now imagine your student or one of the community member is having certain challenges, but you're not the right person to handle it. What should we do? Should we keep telling him or keep telling ourselves, I am the savior, I am the next Messiah, I am going to save and deliver you back home, back to Godhead, nobody else. So no need to go to anyone else. I am there for you, regardless of what advice I give or not. Let me give you a case study. You tell me what should be done. This is a real life incident that happened. One individual had got cancer. And he wanted to take advice. The doctors advised him to go for allopathy treatment, chemotherapy, etc. The mentor, the temple leader, was saying, no, chemotherapy is bad. Of course, whatever it is. You should try alternative medicine. Allopathy doctor promised, if you do so, you'll live at least for 5 to 6 years. Mentor said, no, everything will be spoiled, nothing doing. Alternative medicine, search for it, find out, you'll find something, there's so many things. And the person died in 3 months. What should have been done in this case? What would be your suggestion? What should be done? Question here is, was that temple leader or mentor was really qualified to give an advice in an area where he or she is not trained up? If I am not trained up in the field of medicine, what authority do I have to speak on the subject matter where I know nothing about it? Therefore, here comes the second most important skill. Those who are caregivers, they should have. And they should not be insecure about it. Oh, if I take the student and advise him to meet somebody else, then maybe he will not come back to me. Well, we are here to help him go back home, assist him, not hold on to him. And the second important core skill for caregivers is referrals. Giving a referral. So if you don't have a skill set, you tell him, Prabhu, I know so and so, I'll connect you with that person so you get the right guidance. So I often say the role of a mentor is often elder brother and elder sister, not necessarily Shiksha Guru. There is a difference in that. Ideally, this whole idea of mentorship is designed with that so that you have somebody who emotionally takes care of you, and when you need help with decisions, helps you with decision, not that he or she makes all the decision for you. If they have the knowledge, they share, but yatha ichhasi tatha kuru. Not that you do what I say. This is what I think, or let me connect you to another person who would help you with that. So that's about making referrals that can save us from a lot of challenges and others also. So, important thing here, these are a few just points about on this topic of making referrals. I'll just pass on the mic if somebody can read out. Anyone here?
To making referrals, a caregiver must recognize his or her limitations and situations that call for knowledge and skills outside his or her own specific area of expertise. Especially, a caregiver should avoid denying the scope of their expertise and their own limitations, being possessive over clients, being swayed by sectarian concerns, e.g. guru cliques, anything that...
This is my part, I'm going to hold on to it.
anything that compromises the well-being of clients. It is often dangerous and even illegal to practice without adequate qualification, for example in applying alternative or complementary health remedies.
So I'll share this PPT for you to read it at leisure and think more on it. So there are many important points which you can look into it. Just to lighten the moment, some nice cartoon to see how it happens. Here's our mentor, Mr. or Miss Mentor. Psychiatric help, 5 cents, the doctor is in, and the patient walks in. And to the patient, hopeless, completely hopeless. Nothing can be done for him. Alright. Opinions, 5 cents, thought for the day, 10 cents, sound advice, 25 cents. I'm available, whatever you need. And this is the best. George, this is not psychotherapist, this is psychotherapist. It's a one word. Get the right context. Don't break the word. So here, this is what it means precisely. That would be the 4th point, considering ethics. Every caregiver needs to know about their own capacity, what they can do or not do. They should not over-assume their ability to help. That's the point here. Alright. Oh, this is a nice one. Do any of your relatives suffer from mental illness? The doctor asked. No, they all seem to enjoy it. I come from a crazy family. Alright, so that was the second. What was the first one? Core skill. What is the first skill required for a caregiver? Maintaining confidentiality. And 3 things for which we break the confidentiality. What is the second core skill needed for caregiver? Making referrals. And now we come to the third and a very, very important. That is building rapport. Any thoughts about how do you build rapport with your students? Tests. We scare them. We're talking about building rapport. Thank you for that. Okay. How do you build rapport with your students?
Regularly checking in.
Okay, regularly following up with them. Okay, nice. What else? Yes, Nathapu.
Developing relationships to know them.
Developing relationship, spending one-on-one time. Okay. Anything else? How do we develop rapport with the students? Because that's very important. Yes, please.
Being personal.
Being personal, spending one-on-one time, being personal. Anything else?
Asking questions.
Asking questions. So to know them better. Thank you, Mother. What about instructing them? Alright, you have come to the temple now. So tomorrow you're going to chant 8 rounds of Mahamantra. And a week later, 16 rounds of Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And 2 weeks later, I recommend your name for initiation. Are you ready? So I'm going to introduce a quick model here. Okay, before I get into the model, let me ask this question to you. You want to inspire or you want to help somebody take to spiritual practice. What would be the best way? Generally, how do you, encourage somebody to take to Krishna consciousness? Maybe give a lecture, give philosophy. They hear a lecture or, how would you encourage somebody to take to Krishna conscious practice? Any thoughts? Yes, Peter?
For example,
Fantastic. By setting an example, very nice.
and enjoying it. Enjoying doing it.
And enjoying, be happy yourself. What you're asking him to do. Chant and be happy. Then be happy when you're chanting. Okay. Okay, well, try Mother. Yes, Mother.
Be friend with them.
Okay, being friendly, having a relationship with them. Very nice. What else? Yes, Prabhu?
Give them a lot of prasad.
Give them a lot of prashadam, being your friends. that comes into that. Thank you so much. I can see that you're sitting next to Damodar Prabhu. You're getting influenced. Prabhu loves giving prasadam. When I was in Chopati, I said I'm joining ashram. Why? Damodar Prabhu feeds me gulab jamun every day. Okay, thank you for that. What else? You're encouraging the student to wake up in the morning. Just by telling him to wake up in the morning, would it be possible? What else would we need to do that? You have done the modeling, as Mother said, setting an example. Mother said mentoring. You have built relationship. Prabhu said feeding prasadam as part of mentoring. What else would we need to do? I want you tomorrow morning onwards to wake up at 4:30 and come for morning program. What would be needed for him?
Convincing that
To go early to bed. So you're going to advise him to go early to bed? So you're saying, don't advise, don't ever listen to you, okay? What else? Yes, Dapo.
telling the benefit.
Telling the benefits, Brahma Mrutakal. Okay, telling the benefits, health benefits, whatnot. Very nice. What else? Yes, Mother.
Proposing him an experience and see how he feels.
Thank you for that. I'm reminded of one thing. My roommate back in America, he was a South Indian. He would just not get for morning program. He would just not get up for morning program. So we decided we should create an experience for him so that he gets up for morning program. So I went and woke him up at 4 o'clock. I said, Sundar Prabhu, get up. He said, where am I? Who am I? He was so much in deep sleep, he was totally lost. I said, Sundar, also Sundar, not Sundar. Sundaresh Prabhu, I got gulab jamun for you. I kept a gulab jamun in front of literally his mouth. He looked straight. He said, gulab jamun? I said, yes, you want gulab jamun? He said, yes. And I kept pulling the gulab jamun behind until he was on his feet. But yeah, he ate and he slept off. It didn't work out as planned. Okay, thank you for that, Mother. Anything else? We're getting close to it. What would we need? We want him to come for morning program tomorrow, maybe a week later. You've done modeling, setting example, you've done mentoring, building relationship. What would be the next step?
He has a higher taste.
I gave higher taste of gulab jamun. He ate and slept off. But okay, thank you for that higher taste. Yes, please.
You need to go with him, like stay with him. I don't know how, like sleeping.
Yeah, you're getting closer to it. You're getting closer. Nice. Okay. So the third is organization. Okay, let me still wait on revealing the model. Organization means you want him to wake up in the morning. So prior to that, we need to sit down with him and understand his lifestyle. And understand his challenges in sleeping early. For example, he says, well, what to do? I live with people who don't sleep before 12 o'clock. Now, if his room partner doesn't sleep before 12 o'clock, it won't be possible for him to sleep. And I want him to wake up in the morning, then I need to create a facility or alternative so that he can go to bed early. So I can say, why don't you do one thing? Over the weekend, come to my place. And I'll prepare dinner for you. And I'll ensure by 9 o'clock, after that there's no noise. You can sleep. Now if he's able to sleep by 9, maybe he may not fall asleep by 9, maybe by 10 o'clock if he goes under the bed. At least he's sleeping 2 hours before. So if he was waking earlier at 7 o'clock, now at least he can wake up by 5, if not 5, 6 o'clock. So it's a very important thing for us to create facility what we want them to practice. Because then it becomes easy for them to follow it. Otherwise the question would be, Prabhu, you are telling me lofty things, but I can't do it. You're telling me to eat prasadam. How do I do? My friends cook something else. Oh yeah? Okay, then we have to create a facility. Therefore, Prabhupada, many times he mentions why he created ISKCON. He said, I have created ISKCON for the purpose. In 14th chapter, Bhagavad Gita, Modes of Nature, he said, I have created ISKCON so that people can come and get association of sadhus. Because only by the association of sadhus, when they will hear Krishna Katha, Kirtan and eat prasadam, then they will move from lower modes to Sattva-guna. And as somewhere else in Bhagavatam, I have created a ISKCON so that there is sadhu sangha. And they can find saintly people with whom they can develop loving relationship. And when there will be that loving relationship, people will be willing to listen and change their lifestyle. That's organization. So if organization is done, so the model actually is, I'm going to show that then. So the model, which this is called as MMOT. And the disclaimer about it is, it got to be followed in a sequence. You can't just do anything here and there. We got to set an example, as Mother Gaurangi said. Yad yad acharati shreshta tathad eva tarunava. That's what Krishna told Arjuna. You got to fight because you have to set an example. That's what Srila Prabhupada told in Bombay when he was living there. I need to go along with my books, because by reading books they will not understand unless they see a person practicing the book. Setting an example is very important. For example, I remember one mother, right in the dining hall, in the prasadam hall, she shouted at herself, "Keep quiet! You speak so loudly!" And the son was confused. And he said, "Mother, why are you speaking so loudly?" Mother shouted at the child, and the child obviously next thing asked, "Why are you speaking loudly and you asking me to speak softly?" And mother was kind of embarrassed. What do I say? So what we asked them, we got to follow. That's a model, very nicely pulled out here. And it got to be followed in a sequence. Second, I've already spoken, I'll move forward, is mentoring. This refers to, Mother was saying, personal relationship, one-to-one time, we spend time with them. But how do we do mentoring? So I'm not going to give too many models, but I'll just introduce briefly a second model. What exactly mentoring means? And the model for that I'm going to speak is called CARES. When you put in systems and structures, then practice becomes easy. Therefore, we're just introducing that. So the mentoring model is CARES. What is this? Let's take a look at. So what a mentor? Because it's very important for a mentor to understand his code of conduct and the boundaries. What I'm supposed to do and not. So first is care. They should genuinely feel about the well-being of the student. Yesterday, Damodar Prabhu was quoting Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and he was giving a beautiful analysis that when Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur said, the devotees of this movement should be willing to spend 200 gallons of blood. And he gave a very beautiful analysis. If you, donate, how much? Per week.
Yeah, per week.
How much was it?
The maximum you can.
Okay, per week for 100 years, if you contribute, by the end of 100 years, you would have contributed 200 gallons. The maximum you can contribute per week, if you donate blood per week, maximum, by the end of 100 years, it will sum up to 200 gallons. That's what Damodar was saying. So anyways, so the point here is care. We should have that genuine feeling. One devotee, he's a very wonderful intellectual individual, but he often gets a complaint from his audience, you're too intellectual that we don't understand anything. Your class goes over the head. So he was speaking to his spiritual master. He said, Maharaj, people say I gave a beautiful class, but the problem is nobody understands what I say. Because it's so technical. What do I do? So Maharaj said, well, I'm a simple man, but I know one thing that really impacts the other's heart. So he was with all his ears listening to, what is that, Maharaj, what is that? Maharaj said, Krishna has gifted me with one wonderful quality. I'm speaking about Guru Maharaj. He said, Krishna has gifted me with wonderful quality. I genuinely care for others. And for that platform when I speak, it touches the heart. So in other words, indirectly Maharaj was indicating to this devotee, you're focusing a lot on intellectual presentation. But you got to care for your audience. A genuine care. So that's about mentoring. First thing, a care. And this is what I was speaking to Nitai Prabhu yesterday. How it functions. Best it functions if you are cultivating a student. Because there that relationship happens genuinely. Unlike you're announcing to a community, we are starting a mentorship program, you want everyone to accept mentor. It takes a while for that. Second is appreciation. I believe Damodar who made this point in the very first session. Who is that? Prabhupada described
Peter Burwash.
Peter Burwash. He was quoting the example of Peter Burwash. How a nurse came, a lady came, and she cleaned the room. And Peter Burwash Prabhu so genuinely appreciated her, and she began to cry. And she said, "Oh, nobody has really appreciated me in the last 20 years." I remember there was a student who's within a week time, he began to chant 4 rounds. And I took him, this was many years ago, I took him to my senior. Just prior to me introducing this devotee to my senior, we had a ceremony where we appreciated all those devotees who have taken a commitment to chant 16 rounds. And there was an appreciation ceremony for them. This boy had just agreed to chant 4 rounds. I brought him to him. And he so nicely appreciated him. Oh, within a week time, from 2 rounds to 4 rounds, this boy was so nervous. He thought, "Oh, what will I do going there?" Prabhu was appreciating those chanting 16 rounds. I'm just chanting 4 rounds. But when he appreciated him, within the next week, he came to 16 rounds. Appreciation, this little dosage of appreciation makes a tremendous difference. So this is, let me put it, this is a job profile, whoever is mentor. This formula should be memorized. You have that nature of appreciating or not, but you got to do it for the people who you're taking care of. Because that gives them emotional satisfaction. Makes a huge difference. That's about appreciation. A. Let's go to the R. R refers to respect. Like I was given an example of this boy practicing for 6 months. He had a challenge with practicing sexual purity. And suddenly his mentor said, "Oh, you're so fallen. If I associate with you, what will happen to me?" No, that's not the attitude. So any relationship can grow if there is a respect. And everyone can understand with the conduct or behavior of other person if they have respect for me or not. And particularly for the beginners, they don't understand how a culture is still, how to give respect to senior, equals and juniors. So they generally come on the level of peer. They begin from there. So it's very important. And in fact, we can only generally care for them when we respect them as an individual, as a Mamayvamsa, Jiva Loka, Jiva Bhuta, Sanatana. He is also a part and parcel of the Lord, just like me. He has forgotten, I have been reminded. And it's my service to help him remind. But nonetheless, I should respect that individual and not be judgmental of what he is. It will take time for him to improve, no problem. Fourth, encouragement. We all do mistakes. A mistake is not the end. Mistake is an opportunity to grow. So we need to be encouraged. I have experienced this a lot, and I'm pretty sure anyone who's in the leadership role would have the same experience. A good leader means you have to have a high tolerance. You cannot just break out. A mentor. How many of you have cooking experience here? I want to just give you some cooking example here. Damodar can correct me if that's the right example, but because I was doing it. Chicago Temple, in the morning, I was preparing this, burfi for the Lordship. So for that, burfi, what's the other word? Yeah, burfi maybe. So you have to boil the milk slowly for a long hours. So I was doing that, 2 hours have already gone by. And I'm just slowly churning the milk. After 2 hours, something very interesting happened that didn't happen until the 2 hours. Now suddenly, the milk began to spurt. That bubbles, they began to burst. And when bubbles began to burst, a hot milk would fall over my body. It will sometimes fall here, sometimes fall there. And I was like, oh, it's burning my body. And then a leader came, for those days, Temple President of Chicago. He said something very profound. He said this is the life of a leader or a mentor. When you're training somebody, eventually their faults will spill over you. They'll do mistakes. And because of mistakes, you might feel a little burnt at times. You may feel angry at times. But you got to have patience. You got to keep churning. Keep moving. Don't stop. Because if you stop, the whole milk will be burnt. You can't stop him. You just keep going on, keep moving. Gradually, that milk will turn into what we can make butterfree milk. And everyone goes through this life. We don't need to give it up. We just have to hang on. Ussahanisha Dhairya. That's about encouragement. And the last, but not the least, of the mentoring skill set or requirement is sacrifice. Without sacrifice, it's just not possible. Prabhupada, Prabhupada is the best example, and I'm pretty sure, of course, the devotee community here is a wonderful example. Without sacrifice, love has no meaning if there's no sacrifice. Love means sacrifice. And we got to, what is sacrifice? Prabhupada defines sacrifice in Bhagavad Gita. One of the purpose, it is in the 16th chapter, Prabhupada says sacrifice means willing to accept inconveniences voluntarily for the benefit of others. Willingness to accept inconveniences voluntarily for the benefit of others is one of the definitions Prabhupada gives for sacrifice. So this is the KS model. What does C stands for? No. That's for loving relationship. Care. What does A stands for? Appreciation. Thank you. What does R stands for? Respect. What does E stands for? Encouragement. S is written on the board, so that's okay. S stands for sacrifice. So, yeah. Moving forward to the third aspect of this model is organization. So, did you notice here, so far we have not started teaching.
That's what I was saying.
Teaching has not come only so far. Modeling, setting an example, mentoring, personal relationship, and the chaos model for it. Organization, creating a facility for them to practice. Once all that is done, then we say what to do, what not to do. Remember that first initiation of ISKCON that Prabhupada gave? Yes. And after that initiation, next morning, every devotee saw a notice, letter by Srila Prabhupada. So, all the new initiated devotees, now they have to follow 4 regulatory principles. And that's the time Prabhupada introduced no eating, no intoxication, no gambling, and no illicit relationships like that. So in organization, there are 2 parts. One is organizing the life of others. You can only do justice to it when you're good in organizing your life. Yukta ahara viharasya, yukta cheshtasa karmashu, yukta sapnova bodhasya, yogo bhavati savaka. 6th chapter verse 17. So, a leader, a mentor, a caregiver need to have proper sadhana, strong sadhana. Need to take care of his own physical well-being. If not, then how would it care for others? Unless we are getting nourishment, for how long can we keep giving nourishment to others? So organization in 2 parts, self-organization and then organizing facility for others to practice. And that is called as cultural engineering. Prabhupada often uses this word in his writings. Cultural engineering. I thought electrical engineering, computer engineering, but I never came across cultural engineering except for Prabhupada books. It took me a while to understand what this cultural engineering is. And this is this. Creating a facility, a setup. So they are ready to practice what we are about to teach them. And now we teach what to do, what not to do. And now at this point in time, it becomes digestible and possible to follow because there's that right environment. They have a trusting relationship from the speaker who's speaking, and now they can execute. The same thing, Krishna and Arjuna. Krishna heard Arjuna. That's about mentoring. He heard Arjuna, and when Arjuna said, "Okay, Lord, now you speak," then Krishna spoke. Like Mother said, attentive listening. That's part of mentoring like that. So this is what about teaching. So this is the MMOT model. Okay, I'll not do this like this. I'll provide the PPT. You can go ahead with it later on. They're about Shiksha model, what to teach also. So coming back, so we're talking about 4 core skills for a caregiver, leader, and mentor. What is the first skill? Zip it up. Maintaining confidentiality. What is the second skill? Core skill for a caregiver, leader. Referrals, making referrals. Third, building rapport. So I just spoke about how to build rapport with the MMOT model and the CARES model. Alright. So this is about building rapport over here. Yeah, that's it. I've already explained that. Any questions so far before I come to the last point? Is it making sense a little bit? Are you able to relate to it? Yes, Nitya.
About
I will repeat Nitya's first question. He said that.
about mentoring, you say you need to care, to have genuine feelings. But tears goes with the relationship. It grows with the relationship also.
Okay, Nitya was saying you said care, but that grows with the relationship. One aspect of care is I'm so grateful for what I have received. I need to share. And whoever is willing to receive, I'm going to share with them. So that, at least that much. And I'm willing and understanding that how I created testing times for my seniors when they were training me, how my seniors were patient with me, I gotta be patient with him or her also. That much care is good enough to begin with. We're not saying about falling in love kind of a thing, but that's because there has to be boundary. And of course, we have to have gender-wise distinction also, because that's important to maintain integrity, personal integrity, particularly if you're a single man and a single woman taking care. That's important. Otherwise, on a physical plane, it's very easy to get emotionally attached. So that kind of integrity and ethics have to be maintained also. Best, man take care of man, who provide the care. Education, anyone can provide. But the care is best if it is gender specific. Because they naturally connect to each other. And there's no chances of any cross connection that way. Otherwise, unnecessarily many troubles happen. Fine, Nitya? Anything else on the subject matter of skills? And the last skill of, if not everything, but last but not least, is ethics. Now this is a bit different than the first 3 skills we spoke about. And ethics refers to your personal integrity. Understanding your limits. Your code of conduct. And fourth, taking initiative for skill development. I also need training if I need to keep training others. So it's not that the education I have concluded for me, because now I'm offering training, but I also need to accept training and I have to keep learning. And I believe most of you are setting up such a wonderful example. Many of you are way senior, but still sitting and listening. So that's the whole idea of ethics, integrity, knowing one's boundary, understanding one's job profile as a mentor, what I can do, what I cannot do, And the fourth is continuous skill development, or what we call as CPD, continuous professional development. Skills need to be acquired according to the services we render. Playing mridanga is a skill. Cooking is a skill. Singing is also a skill. So we practice it. So like that, we acquire that. So that's about ethics. Would anyone like to read out at this point? I'll pass on the mic, please. Any volunteer? Generally, that's not the case when you call for volunteers. Volunteers are excited. All of you are too shy.
Considering ethics,
Yes.
this fourth topic is somewhat different from the previous three in that ethical concerns and related skills underpin all caring practices. It is especially important that devotee counselors demonstrate integrity, both professional and devotional. ISKCON caregivers be careful not to sacrifice personal integrity in favor of misunderstood or misapplied religious belief sentiment. They exercise a degree of self-determination as a local team or as a wider sangha. Caregivers define an agreed code of conduct or code of ethics to which they consider themselves accountable irrespective of stature or position. They regularly participate in CPD, continuous professional development.
Thank you. So with that, we kind of complete this topic of the 4 core skills. I'll pause here and take a moment to thank each and every one of you, because I'm just going to go back and pack my bag and get ready. Damodar will come and conclude. So sincere gratitude to each and every one of you. Also to our leaders here, Lakshman Prabhu and his good wife. And has been a very inspiring stay. And I'm going to go back and share everything that I learned here, observing how all of you are trying to serve the deities in such a big campus with all the things which are available or not there. It's not so, there are certain challenges in terms of manpower and whatnot. And having a farm community, maintaining a farm community is one of the most difficult things. Because devotees generally don't come so easily to the farm community to come and stay and serve. But somehow by Lord's grace and the way the leaders have been working and all of you, how you have been supporting each other, this is going on. It's growing, recovering from whatever was the past was, and becoming an inspiration for many of us. I was thinking, I often take out my group for retreats and yatras. So when I was coming to Europe, my team told me, Prabhu, find out some place for a retreat. So I told them, New Mayapur is a good place. Let's come for a retreat next year here. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.